So I thought it would be fun to take a look at some more of the card reveals. We're up to, I think, 3 more sets of cards I didn't look at yet. So let's see how we think of these and what if they're going to be any good. They'll probably be good, but let's take a look. So we'll start off here with the Syndicate cards. Let's begin with the bronzes again. So we've got Pearl Diver. So 4 for 4 Human Pirate Tidecloak. Seems like pirates or something I figured the Syndicate would have more of when they were released, but I guess we're doing something with that here, and a Tidecloak makes sense. Tidecloaks seem to have the least number of synergies, so I'm glad that at least it fits in with there. We don't know if they have more synergies yet, but Timer 3, gain 6 coins. Okay, so this is interesting. This kind of reminds me of who was the guy with the tribute. You can either gain tribute 5, gain 9 coins, or you can Timer 3, gain 9 coins. It's a bronze version of that where you only have the choice of waiting. And it's a 4 instead of a 5. Obviously, gaining 6 coins is amazing. And gaining them at a later turn, it's going to be at the end of your turn, so you can't spend the coins the turn you gain them. But it's still an interesting card. Would I use this? I think it's going to die too often, but yeah, I think it would die too often, but it's still interesting for sure. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent card. I don't know if I'd run it unless I really needed the Tidecloak tag for like collusion or something. Maybe if I'm running collusion, I'd run this, but then I'd run the tutor one or the thinning one instead. I don't know. It's interesting though. Let's see what the next card is here. All right, we've got the Treasure Huntress. So she's a 4 for 5. Human Pirate Tidecloaks. Okay, looks like they're going with the Pirate Tidecloaks in this expansion. I'm a fan. Let's see what we've got here. So, Profit 3, so that's about 7 for 5. So the ability's got to be pretty decent here. Hoard 7. Okay, that's a lot of Hoard. Fee 3. Infuse an allied unit with at the end of your turn, gain a coin. Fee 3, infuse an allied unit with at the end of your turn, gain a coin. So that's kind of expensive. It's an even coin exchange after 3 turns, right? Is you have to pay the 3 coins to give them the ability, and then the unit has to live. Interesting. If you're going for a long round, maybe I see this, because you do run Tax Collector quite a bit, and he's a 1 coin a turn, right? So if you have a reason to run Treasure Huntress, she's probably decent in a longer round. It's definitely an interesting ability. More long round coins are pretty good. Like, coin generation typically is on deploy for most cards, other than like Tax Collector and a 2 coin gold card that can get in a shield or whatever. You don't see that one very much. Pretty interesting. It doesn't synergize with too much right now, but the effect's pretty good. I mean, if it's Hoard 7's kind of hard. Hoard 5, if you're running the -2, is a good ability, though. I wouldn't... Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. It's strange to me, though, to see that the new Tidecloak ones don't synergize with the leader that spawns the Sea Jackals. But I guess not much synergizes with them, so I guess that's worth pointing out. Then we have Flyndra's Crew. This is the Epic. 3 for 8. Oh, this Billy better be good. Human Tidecloak Pirate once again. Deploy spawn 3 base copies of self on this row. Whoa. 3 base copies. Reduce the number of copies by 1 for every counter. Reduce the number by each counter. Okay. Your hoards require 1 less coin to trigger. That's interesting. And Hoard 9, once per round, at the end of your turn while in hand or deck, remove a counter. Counter 3. This is like opposite of what I thought would happen with this type of ability. Hold on a second. So, if we play this with 3 counters, it would spawn, it would go, and then it would do its deploy, and give us 3 more. So we give a total of 4, right? So yeah, it's going to reduce the hordes by 4. So potentially reducing all of your hordes by 4, is that good? Yeah, that's really good. And that combos with the other ones we just saw too. They had a higher horde, that last card. This is definitely really good then with that one. Yeah, so 3 hordes, 4 less. So yeah, but just like face value looking at this seems really good. It's also just like 12 for 8 point slam, which is obviously strong too. So this is good. This is really good. So hoard 9's then the question. What is you lose counters? How do we lose counters? Once per round, at the end of your turn, remove a counter. So potentially, if you never reach hoard 9 at the end of your turn, you don't lose any counters. So that means you want to spend your coins and not hold 9 coins if this is in your deck. That's fine. That's not that big a deal. This seems really good. I kind of was just looking at this, I would have suspected that the counter went up by reaching hoard 9 at the end of your turn. There's like a reward to it, but I guess not. You can just open with this. This seems really good. The question is, are the hoard cards that impactful? Or that there are that many good ways to spend coins? Like, you've got fees, obviously, but most fees don't need hoard, except the new ones do. Yeah, so that's interesting. This, I think, is going to be really good. I really wish these things synergize better with the Pirate's Cove, man. Really wish Pirate's Cove had synergies with these new Pirate and Tidecloak cards. But I guess not. That's the only thing I'm disappointed about here. Alright, well, that card seems really good. Let's go on to these new Legendary. In Search of Forgotten Treasures, a 15 provision scenario. Well, the last two scenarios seemed really good. So I'm guessing this one will be really good too. Scenario Cursed, Doomed. Progress whenever you play a Tidecloak. Okay. So, okay, hold on a second. I mean, Pirate's Cove spawns, right? Yeah, Pirate's Cove spawns. So you can't immediately full trigger it with Pirate's Cove. That's a little... makes sense, but... man, I wish Pirate's Cove had more synergy with this. Although, I guess we'll see what the rest of the effects are. Prologue Spawn, Gudrun, Bjorn's Jotier, and on this row. Okay, we'll check out what that card is in a minute. Chapter 1, Hoard 8. At the end of your turn, gain coins to fill your pouch. Wait. This gives you full coins? At Hoard 8, you only get 1 coin, but that doesn't have to be Hoard 8. And then we just saw that last one, which gives you... your hoards are reduced. The Flyndr's crew. So if you have that... you'd have what, Hoard 3? I'm doing math wrong here. 7. It'd be 7 down to 3. It's like 6 a turn. Whoa, that's a lot of coins. That's so many coins. The passive effects on the other one, on the Skellige one, where you give the infuse to the Cataclysm effect, was really good too. This one, the Harmony one where you got +1 per category, seems a lot weaker now. Harmony scenarios passive. This is potentially so many coins. And then what if you were actually like running Gudrun? She gets +1 for each coin you gain back. She's a Tidecloak, right? You can just play her and wow. It gives you a lot of coins. Okay, what's the last effect? Chapter 2, damage the highest enemy by the number of coins you have. That's just 9 damage. Like, probably just 9 damage. Because Chapter 1 will make sure you've got those 9 coins at the end of the previous turn. Let's look what Gudrun does. This seems really, really good. What does Gudrun do? Gudrun Bjornsdot here. 4 with 1 armor for 15... well, I guess 15 provisions just because spawned by the card. Hoard 7, fee 3. Okay, so it synergizes with the whole hoard spend coins thing. So yeah, this goes really well with Chapter 1. Human Pirate Tidecloak Curse. Fee 3, infuse an enemy. Okay, we got another infuse ability. Whenever your opponent gains coins, damage self by 1. Wait a minute. So this is each time they gain coins, not per coin. So just the refill wouldn't do 7 damage, just do 1. But then you've got the new bronze that we just looked at, where you infuse it with the ability to gain give ability to a unit to gain a coin each turn. The feed. These seem to synergize incredibly well together. This seems really good. This seems really good. Even if it only activates like 5 times, that's still a pretty good effect. Yeah, this seems really good. This In Search of Forgotten Treasures seems like a ton of points. It does just seem... it just makes Passive Horror look really bad, though. which I'm not the biggest fan of. Yeah, this seems really good. It just seems like really strong. As long as you can use those coins, as long as you can use the coins, let's be honest, you're going to be able to use the coins. This is an incredibly strong passive effect on the scenario. I think, do we run Heatwave and Verification in every deck once the patch comes out? That's running Heatwave in every deck. I guess we might run Heatwave and Verification in all of them. That's annoying. But yeah, this seems really good. That's the Syndicate cards. Well then, let's look at the next faction, see just how good they are. Monsters. Alright, let's start the bronzes once more. We have, first of all, Orchard Mantrap. Plant Cursed. Plant's a category. That's interesting. Let's see, 3 for 4. Deploy melee, consume, and allied unit. So deploy consume. It's not great, being honest here. What else? This unit triggers Thrive in additional time. Oh, hold on a second. And then we've got deploy ranged, infuse 2 allied units with Thrive. Oh, it's a Thrive card. Okay, so if we play this melee and consume an allied unit, and say it goes like 8, we got Thrive cards, I'm assuming this unit triggers Thrive initial time. That's when it's played. So we play this and it double triggers Thrive. That's interesting because the ranged effect's really good, actually. Infuse 2 allied units with Thrive. That's essentially giving the same value as Andrega Larva's Thrive, right? 2 units with Thrive. But then again, you have to have the 2 units existing. I guess you could make tokens. Maybe you use this with the tokens. Like, you could use Arrakis drone tokens from either, like, eggs, or you could use a Night Wraith that makes tokens, and you'd play this and give them Thrive. Yeah, that seems interesting. I'm not sure the ordering between infusing and then triggering it by playing this card. I'm guessing it would not... I'm pretty sure that you give the Thrive to the units, and then they wouldn't trigger from this being played, but I could be wrong. You never know. But this seems pretty cool. I like the flavor of this card quite a bit, and I really like this one. I'm not sure how good Thrive will be. Based on what I've seen the the previous sets of cards we looked at, though, I'm guessing the rest of the cards will be Thrive support if this is too, which is definitely a deck that needs help. You saw the Koshade deck we did lately. It really is lacking compared to some new stuff. Next up, we have Cursed Damsel. 4 for 4. Okay. 4 for 4 Thrive, so Necker Warrior just got power crept because it has more text on the card. Not that anyone ever ran Necker Warrior since, like, 2 years ago. So, order half own power and destroyed enemy unit with power up to the power moves from self. So, having Thrive makes it valuable because it has the potential to get big. And then it has this ability that once it gets big, it can have its power and destroy something. Destroy is a very powerful ability to have just because it messes with stuff with protection. Like Veil cards, cards with shield, cards with armor. But it's going to need to get up to 8 to destroy a 4. But then again, you could just put Tactical Advantage on this. Go first, play Tactical Advantage on this, then destroy something. That seems good. I like this card. This card seems good. It's a human aristocrat, by the way, so Nilfgaard, you see that aristocrat tag. Remember, Nilfgaard can take those aristocrats. Not that they have that much synergy outside of Ball. Yeah, this seems really good. If you're running Thrive. The question is if Thrive really needs gold support, I think. Because running like the old Spear Tip's not good enough. Let's see what the gold cards are. Sir Scratchula, a 4 for 8. Okay, Beast Cursed. At the start of the game, gain immunity. So when you play it, it's going to have immune. Deploy boost self by 0. Okay, so we play it and it's a 4. Order, increase the boost value by 2, then replay self. Okay, so when you replay it, it loses the immunity. So the first turn, you play it at a 4, and then the next turn you replay it, and it loses the immunity, but it goes to 6. Units played on the opponent's side can trigger your Thrive. That seems awesome, but then again, what deck's going to be playing bigger units than you are? I guess it could Thrive you like an extra time or 2 on your Neckers and Andrega Larva, so you play them early. And you play this, and then the opponent start thriving your guys. That's pretty cool. But I think the replay self and boosting is really good because you can trigger your Thrive an extra time every turn. This is kind of like the thing I said with Harmony, where like Harmony, at most you could do one a turn, and then you'd run out of categories previously. And now you have the Chameleon and such, where you can do more than one a turn, so Harmony's a lot better. Same thing here. You could Thrive, you could do, was essentially once a turn, with the leader being thrown in, right? But you could have more Thrive cards than Harmony cards. Now, we're not going to compare it, because we know which one's better. But, yeah, this seems really good. You can do an extra Thrive each turn. This can get really, really big. If they don't, well, just on a point level, you play this, and then you could use the order potentially 9 times afterward. Let's just say use the order 5 times, like a medium amount. It's a 14 for 8. That's really good, just on like a raw value, not even counting the Thrive activations it does. So yeah, this card seems really strong. Thrive might be seeing, might actually have some play again. I like that. I like Thrive. And then we have the gold, which I'm sure, or the legendary, which I'm sure is in our scenario. The Dark Manor's Secrets, a 14 per vision. Okay. Scenario cursed, doomed. Yep. Progress whenever you play a unit with Thrive. So yeah, even more Thrive synergy. Okay, so you progress when you play a Thrive unit. Okay, what do we get from it? Prologue, Spawn Cursed Damsel. That's the card we saw earlier, the 4 for 4, right? So that's pretty good. That's good to spawn that with this. Chapter 1, whenever you play a unit, if it would not trigger Thrives, boost it by 2 first. So this would trigger before the Thrive, right? So if we have like a Necker Warrior and then we played another Cursed Damsel, it wouldn't trigger a Thrive, so the Cursed Damsel get a +2, so she'd be a 6 when she'd be considered to be played and trigger the Thrive. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a cool effect, but if you're playing optimally with Thrive, you're higher units each turn anyway, so this doesn't matter. However, you rarely get to play optimally with Thrive, so this is actually pretty handy. It's not as strong as the other passive effects, certainly not as strong as the Syndicate one. But yeah, this seems pretty good. Obviously, scenarios are typically better than all other cards in the game, so I'm not too surprised by that, but yeah, it seems really good. I don't think it's as strong as the other ones, but this seems pretty good. What's the last effect? Chapter 2 plays the highest bronze power monster unit from your deck. Well, I don't think you're running Griffin in a Thrive deck. Unless you're running Fruits of Gurnicor's Fruit. Would you run that, though? I think you'd want the double Thrive from the Force of Nature, because you'd want to run Koshe in these, probably. Or probably run Koshe in these. I'm excited to try this out. But I think this is probably like a 7, the last one, to play a 7. You could do Griffin, potentially, but... Huh, this is interesting. So whenever you... Cursed Damsel's decent, yeah. When you play a unit after your Thrives, I think you really want to be taking advantage of Chapter 1 with all these scenarios with the passive effects, and this one doesn't seem as good. Like, it's very useful to Thrive, and I think Thrive's definitely better with this than without it, but it doesn't quite seem as strong as the other scenarios. But then again, I'm not going to complain. This is a cool card. It's definitely a cool card. And lastly, then, we have the Northern Realms cards. Let's start with the bronzes again. Like I said, we haven't seen any of these cards before, so this is pretty much a first reaction here. Squire, Human Knight. Yes, Knight. That is the category I wanted to see buffed. Let's go. I wanted to see Knights for Nilfgaard, I wanted to see Harmony for Scoia'tael, and I wanted to see Soldiers for Nilfgaard. We're on a good track here. That's like every faction I wanted to see buffed. And Thrive for Monsters, too. I said that in the Koshe video. The only thing that didn't get something boosted that... I even like Tidecloaks. I really want to see Tidecloaks buffed for... especially the leader ability. I really want to see people running Pirates Cove. Pirates Cove's like my favorite thing, but no. All my favorite factions are buffed. This is awesome. Let's see what we got here. Squire. Human Squire, 4 for 4. Order boosts the next unit you play by 2. Okay, that's an order. So you have to wait a turn. That's fine. It's a 4 for 4. It might get removed, but that means you're not moving better stuff. If it is a knight, yes, a knight synergy. Let's go. Infuse it with, at the end of your turn, boost self by 1. Okay, that's actually really cool. So we have the Squire out. You play a knight. He buffs the knight by 2 and gives it a passive boost. That's really cool. How much value is this? You play this next turn. It's a 6 or 4. If the order goes off, potential 1 more turn. Okay, that's a good bronze engine value. That's a good bronze engine value. The question is, what knights are there? We'll have to check that in a minute, but there's several knights that I think you would actually really like this. It doesn't have to be a bronze knight. And since it doesn't have to be a bronze knight, that's actually really key, right? Because you could use this on something like the knight engines, which if we're talking about, there's really just, there's Redanian Knight, I believe, and I think, is Redanian Knight the only, it can't be the only knight. I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure Prince Ansace is a knight. Well, I'll check. But yeah, this seems really cool. I like this quite a bit here. Really neat card. And I'm glad to see Knight Synergy. Cintron Knight, there's a bunch of knights. Think of them later. Can't right now. Yeah, this seems like a good card, though. It also seems like a good card, which is nice. We have Knight Errant up next. Another bronze. This will be the rare card. Human Knight, glad to see him. What do we got here? It's a 3 for 5. At the end of your turn, boost self by 1 for each adjacent boosted unit. Okay, so if you have 2 boosted units next to him, he gets 2 points a turn. That's really good. He damages self by 1 for each adjacent damaged unit. So you kind of have to control what's next to him. That makes sense. That's really neat. Potentially 2 points a turn. The opponent has the opportunity to interact with it by damaging stuff next to it, not just himself. It comes down probably as a 5 for 5, a lot like the Skellige Priest guy, with the potential for 2 for a turn. There's a lot of similarities between those two and how they play. They both rely on the units next to them having some kind of synergy with them. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Grace 9. Okay, Grace is the new keyword. So what Grace does is the first time the unit's power is equal to or higher than the specified amount, trigger the ability. If the condition is already met when it enters the battlefield, trigger it immediately. So when this guy gets to 9 power, he gets give adjacent unit shield, then infuse them with whenever this unit loses shield, boost by 2. This is just like a bonus effect. The 2-point engine is really nice. And then once this gets to a 9, it gives your units next to it shield. And then if their shield gets pinged off, they get a boost. Would you run this in shield wall? Because it gives 2 shields. I don't know. I like this card. I really like the way this card plays, I think. We're going to definitely have some fun with Knights. I've been trying Knights as late as like last month, and they were just so bad. I couldn't make a video on them, guys. I'm sorry. Couldn't make them win. But yeah, really happy to see some changes here. Alright, then we get to go on to the Epic, which is going to be this guy right here. So the Epic card, I'll pull up in a second. Alright, so technical difficulty's over. We have restored the internet. And now we're going to look at the Maiden Shield. You guys probably won't notice because I probably edited it out of the video. But here we are. Maiden Shield. Human Knight, 4 for 9. So its ability's going to have to be really good here. It does have a shield. That's good for keeping it alive. Grace 8. Spawn Bronwyn the Bold on the right. So we'll look at Bronwyn the Bold after this. But so you need a 4-point boost. You could do that pretty easily with a any of the stratagems, really. Crystal Skull on this is probably going to be really good. You Veil Shield, and then it's already at 8. It spawns Bronwyn. Crystal Skull on this seems really good. Depends how much you're going to want Engineering Solution for shield synergies, but I think Crystal Skull on this is a good opener. Do you want to win the round? Let's see what Bronwyn does after this, but yeah, this seems like a good start. 4-point boost isn't too hard to get either with a leader charge. Depends on the leader. Like, you do leader charge in order from, say, the other squire, from the squire we saw earlier. Grace 14. So he's got to get 5, he's got 10 points to get here. Boost Bronwyn the Bold by 3. Okay, so that's 3 points. Deathwish Lock Bronwyn the Bold. So if he dies, Bronwyn the Bold loses her ability. This is going to be contingent on what she does. So let's take a look at her. Where is she? Bronwyn the Bold. She's a 2-power, 9 provision. Human Aristocrat Cursed. Aristocrat, interesting. Immunity. Okay, so right away, we spawn Bronwyn. She's probably staying alive. Grace 5. Okay, yeah. So his 3 boost is going to get her to 5. Outside of that, it's going to be really hard to boost an immune unit. You can do it. Well, it's not that hard, right? Because you have Anna. You have the infantry guy who boosts the unit on the right. You can always Knighthood, I guess, if Knighthood gets buffed. Yeah, you could do that. Okay, yeah, you can do it, but usually the easiest thing is probably just going to be the Maiden Shield. Getting this. Grace 5 in order. So I think for Grace 5, so Grace means the ability triggers, so I think guess this might... With this, I think you might have to still have to wait a turn. Hard to say on that one. I'm not too sure. I'll have to play that to figure it out. Infuse an allied unit with whenever this unit receives a boost from other abilities, boost self by the same amount. Okay, so she could become a very big unit. So you click this on some other unit that's going to get really big. Perhaps the Maiden Shield, perhaps something, and then you play a big boost card on it. Just as an example, like if you garrison something, this would also get the 10 points. This is very interesting. As far as the Maiden Shield, I guess we'll analyze these together. So the shield is really nice. Veil would have been key here, though, because this is a lock card. Death Wish is going to die. Nice thing is, with shield, the best removal is probably going to be Heat Wave or Invocation, and neither of those kill it to kill Bronwyn, so that's good to note. So if you banish this guy, you won't lock her, probably. And then you've got the Grace 14. Grace 14, you're going to have to put something on him to boost him. You're going to have to squire him or have to something else to him to get him to 14. So I think he's very cool, that's for sure. Very cool, very thematic. Bronwyn's also very cool. My concern is it takes too long to set this up. You really want to deck boost these guys, right? You really want, well, not her, because she's not going to be in your deck. But like all god type effects, like Dandelion type effects, I think you really want to use those on these guys. It makes for a very interesting deck building. I'm curious to try this out. It seems like a decent card. It seems like it's going to take a lot of effort to get it to work, so maybe it won't be super strong, but it's cool. So, we'll see how it goes out. Definitely be trying it out, that's for sure. Then lastly, here we have another scenario for Northern Realms. The Damsel in Distress, a knight scenario. Awesome. 14 provisions, doomed, scenario cursed, yep. Progress whenever you play a knight, super cool. Prologue, summon a bronze knight from your deck to this row. It doesn't say random bronze knight, so I'm guessing you get to check, or guessing you get to pick, which is nice. It gives you a knight to summon out of your deck. It also thins your deck as opposed to spawning units. Most of the scenarios spawn a unit. This one doesn't, which is unusual, but I like it. Knights are good. Hopefully they buff the other knight cards. Prologue, summon a bronze knight from your deck to this row. We said that. Yep, that's pretty cool. And Chapter 1, whenever an allied unit triggers Grace, boost adjacent units by 2. So there's what, 4 Grace cards if you count Bronwyn the Bold and Maiden Shield. This says to me they're going to rework some of the existing knights to have Grace. Probably. Otherwise, there's not enough Grace for this to really matter that much. Although adjacent units by 2 is a total of 4 values, so this could be really good. You really want Bronwyn the Bold and Maiden Shield in a round with this, I think, because Maiden Shield triggers Grace twice, then Bronwyn triggers it. That's a total of 12 points from this. That's really good, but I think so. You want to use it together for sure. Chapter 2, spawn and play Mad Charge. I'm not sure if they're reworking Mad Charge, but I think Mad Charge is actually like a decent card. It's just that knights are garbage, so it doesn't see a lot of play. Because on a knight, if something has dual, it's particular, the 4 boost and the 2 armor is actually pretty impactful on a dual card, and having the 3 vitality, so 4 boost and 3 vitality is actually pretty good. I'm guessing you might actually run Mad Charge on some of these guys, like Maiden Shield, because I guess I'm pretty close to that 14. But yeah, this seems... it's a scenario. All scenarios are good. It just, is the deck around it good? I don't know. Knights are cool. Really glad to see them getting some support, but we'll have to see how they do. But yeah, that's what we thought of the new cards so far. Hopefully we see some Nilfgaard soldiers. The only thing I'm really missing here that I would like to see. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.